Today's episode is brought to you by Checkfront, the booking platform trusted by over 5,000 tour and activity operators around the world. You can start your own free 21-day trial over at checkfront.com.
Welcome to the Tourpreneur Podcast. Travel industry veteran Shane Whaley will take you on a journey with fellow tourpreneurs, sharing their tips, ideas, insights, and success stories to inspire you to make your tour business the best it can be. And now, please welcome your host, Shane.
And welcome to Tourpreneur at Arival, presented by Checkfront. Today, this is a very special conversation. I'm joined by Alice and Torin. And all those of you who binge listen, and I've heard this week a lot of people binge listen to Tourpreneur, I'm very, very moved by that, will know that you were episode 1 of the Tourpreneur podcast, of the Flying Bike Tours in Asheville in the great state of North Carolina. Welcome.
Thank you. It's
Welcome
such
back.
an honor to be here and finally to meet you in person.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's a thrill to meet you, and this has been a really exciting time being at Arival.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say to our listeners that should they bump into you at events, especially Arival next year that I hope you attend, they need to buy you lots of beers because there would be no Tourpreneur without you both. Because for listeners who don't know, I had this crazy idea that I wanted to talk to tour operators on a podcast, but I thought, well, maybe I'm the only person in the world who wants to do that. And you had written a wonderful blog post on Tourism Tiger about your first year in business.
Yep.
Alice, and I thought, right, this is the person I want to speak to. It's not the big guys, it's the people who want to start out, tourpreneurs in waiting, and then those who are 1 year, 2 year, 3 years into the business. So you were very enthusiastic when I called you, and you were very nervous at first.
Call, well, I was kind of like, who is this guy? What does he want from me?
Yeah, he's a sales guy.
But yeah, I mean, your background was, obviously spoke a lot about your experience in the industry. And I'm always very enthusiastic about any kind of entrepreneurial endeavor. And it just sounded like something that we would, from the very start, would have been incredibly excited about and helpful, trying to navigate this world that there's no, exact guidebook or education for. So I think you've been helping a lot of people. We've been hearing your name a lot at Arival, and I think people are loving what you're doing. So good job.
Thank you very much. Well, I would love maybe January, February next year to invite you back on the show. It'd be great to talk to you a year on about what's changed since we interviewed you in January 2019. But I was really curious to know, so this is your second Arival. Mm-hmm. How has it been for you?
It's been great. I think one of the best things about this year has been actually what's happening right now is meeting people face-to-face that we hadn't, virtually, but we've gotten to sit down with vendors that we use. We've gotten to sit down with, people that we've known through Facebook groups or just, other email exchanges, and we have, just expanded our network in ways that I think will just pay dividends going forward for as long as we're in business. And it's a reciprocity that I think is really specific to this group of people that's here. This industry is so giving and is so open and willing to share. And I think that's another thing that the Tourpreneur Podcast has brought out, that people will come and talk about inside aspects of their business that it's just so beneficial to businesses like ours that are a few years in and still have so much to learn.
What about the sessions? Did you go to many of the theater sessions?
Yeah, definitely. We've been to a lot of the sessions and then the workshops, and it's always great to have Douglas Quimby on stage asking really tough questions. I think it's always things that we've been wondering, but have don't even have the opportunity to ask some of these bigger companies that we're working with. So it's been that's always very insightful and great to have an opportunity to even ask a question yourself. Is always insightful and interesting. Makes for a sometimes tense but interesting session that kind of gives you a little bit of where things are headed.
What surprised you the most in the theater sessions? So for people who weren't able to attend this year, was there anything that stuck out for you?
I guess it was interesting how they brought on some entrepreneurs that were kind of kickstarting or launching their ideas.
Yeah, so Magpie were there,
Yeah,
right?
Magpie and the Questo, just
the gaming app.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear new people like taking a risk, kind of launching kind of a tech idea or something that I'd never really thought about. It definitely makes you think, how can you be, kind of expand things or think about things differently to use, how can you adapt things to apply to your own business.
Yeah.
I feel like if you aren't thinking ahead, you're going to, it's easy to get left behind. So that was definitely interesting to me.
I was really impressed with Zakia Mulawi's presentation about invisible cities. And
yes.
That was amazing.
That was one of the early ones, so now it feels like it's been a few days already. But It was so powerful to hear just her journey and like see the impact that she's had and realize, what that's taken in terms of her efforts and be inspired by that. I think it just shows that there's so much that you can do to have an impact in your community and create, a positive from tourism, which isn't always seen as that. So, I think, that was just one really awesome example of somebody doing something amazing with the platform of leading tours. And we were able to sit down and talk and pick her brain and just like everyone else, she's just so forthcoming and so willing to share, and you feel like you come away with a relationship that can not only benefit us, but can actually benefit our hometown if we implement some of what she's doing.
Absolutely. We met, and I said, okay, we're just doing 10-minute interviews. You deserve a full hour.
Nice.
Let's talk in
Nice.
In December, and I want to give her the full hour because it's such an inspiring thing that she's doing.
Absolutely,
So
and it grew out of the work she was already doing. So it was just a phenomenal idea.
Take a day off from answering emails, telling your team what to get ready, or manually entering info across sales channels. Actually, take many, because Checkfront will help manage your bookings. Guests book and pay however they want. Your team has the tools they need to operate smoothly, and your calendar always stays up to date. Now, what will you do with all that extra time? Checkfront. One booking platform, limitless possibilities. Find out more at checkfront.com.
Did you attend the ResTech panel yesterday with
ResTech.
Fair Harbor and Peak and ResD?
Yes.
Because I heard that was an
Yes.
interesting one.
Like the lingo is still thrown. Yes, that was interesting. I don't know if you have any comments.
Yeah, I actually was, I think, one of two people that stood up and asked a question at that panel, and they were going pretty hard. They were bringing the fire and challenging each other, and it was just really interesting. And so my question was, hey, seeing you guys compete like this and go at each other makes me feel, as a small tourpreneur, it makes me feel wanted. And I said, would you be willing to compete by lowering your rates? And I got
Fantastic.
it got a chuckle, but I think my larger point was, compete for us. Like if they were buying a house from us, it's like we would have been getting cash offers, and they would have had to pay over our asking price, because they were obviously very much wanting those of us, tourpreneurs in the audience to go with their particular brand. And so I think that's a message to all of us, that we have power collectively, and if we can harness that, and if we can take that approach, then we may be the little guy, but collectively we can improve the situation for all of us. So,
And you're still working, you're with Fair Harbor, if memory serves right. Yeah.
Yep.
And how's it working out with them this year?
We've been very happy. We've been with them from the beginning, and that was maybe one thing that I felt like Fair Harbor didn't represent themselves in the way that way we've experienced them. We've had nothing but really excellent customer service, super responsive, super friendly. Whenever we've met the the staff, the Fair Harbor team here at the Fair Harbor conference ahead of time, and just the people who stick around at Arival, I feel like we've gotten to know some of the people, and
Yes.
They're just good people.
They are. They are.
I think the Fair Harbor's presentation came off a little bit colder.
You're not the first person to say. I missed it because I was interviewing. Hopefully, Douglas and Bruce are going to allow us to air the Arival sessions on the Tourpreneur podcast, as we did for the Bangkok sessions, because I'm really interested to hear that one. Also read the Skipped article on that this morning. So, and you just look around. We're sat here right now at the networking lounge, and it's almost like I was looking out yesterday. You've got the OTAs on one side, the res tech companies. It's almost like one of those medieval battlefields, right? Where everyone is, because they're really close to each other.
Yeah.
Really, like on top, like a rugby scrum almost. And I'm like, wow, this is like a visualization of what's happening. And you're right, all of these companies are here. They're all spending thousands of dollars to be at Arival to get you to sign up with them.
Right.
And I was really interested to read some of the comments that come out of that yesterday. I know you're busy and you've got other sessions to get off to. So I guess my question for you is, what are you going to do differently when you go home to Asheville for your business based on what you've heard here this week?
I actually have a very specific answer. We're already kind of allocating some money to put into some marketing, and based on what I've learned here, I think we're going to go a little bit different direction with how exactly we're going to put those dollars in marketing. I think what we've learned and what we've seen, we're using like Werewolf to collect some emails, and I think instead of putting money into social media, I think we're going to focus on email marketing and see what kind of return we get from that.
Excellent.
And same here. I have some really specific things about what bikes we might use and how to hire and how to train our guides, and just so many little details that came out of talking to other operators. And I have a long list that I can't even mentally pull out right now.
Sure.
But it's all there, and I think every little aspect of our business, there are going to be some tweaks and some changes, and those little things are what help you grow.
Fantastic. I'm really surprised thinking about it. So we've got all the OTAs and the tech companies here, and this is not a slight on Arival because they do an amazing job, but I mean, where are the bike manufacturers? Where's the bus insurance companies?
Right. Yeah, insurance
they all should be here
huge.
because, absolutely. This is a question I got, like, what's the best insurance? And there may be reasons for that because each state is different. I don't know. But, I would expect bike manufacturers, because you're here and, you're there. Maybe next year. Maybe that'll change.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's definitely one of the biggest places we get ideas and where we make connections and where we think about working with people is it makes a big difference to see people face to face and get their take directly, and so we've had a lot of relationships grow out of Arival from that.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining. Where can people find your tours online?
flyingbiketours.com. We have our website, and you can book there or give us a call.
Fantastic. Thank you both for joining today. Like I say, and a huge thank you. There'd be no Tourpreneur without you both.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Tourpreneur Podcast. Be sure to visit tourpreneur.com to join the conversation and access the show notes, including links to the resources mentioned on today's episode. This is Tourpreneur.